I'm going to tell a few stories about living dangerous dreams and hopefully surviving them. Now what I do for 200 days a year is travel all over the world and have adventures of one kind, either as a guide or a filmmaker or a photographer sometimes, play a lot of different roles, but get outside and have fun. A quick video from a recent episode of having fun. That was a realization of a big dream. I don't want to gloss over this. My sports are lethal. If you do things wrong, people die. It's not the systems that have led to problems. You know, ropes don't generally break. It's not that stuff. There's no manual on how to do this. When I've gotten into trouble, it's usually because my attitude hasn't been in the right place. My approach hasn't been in the right place. So I've come up with three kind of simple tools. The first one is hazard recognition. If you don't know what the hazards are, then you can't avoid them. And this is a way I look at the world. It's like, all right, what's going to go wrong here? How am I going to deal with it when it does? And I'm running this program all the time. We all are, whether we realize it or not. So with my kids as an example of this, what I do is talk to them about it. I'm like, all right, what hazard level are we running here right now? What's going to go wrong? And my kids look at me and they look around, and maybe we're hiking along a trail in the mountains and there's nothing going on, and they're like, bumps and bruises, Dad. We got this. Cool. Then we're out there and the trail's a little bit more radical, big drop off. I'm like, all right, what would happen if you fell off there? Is that the main danger? They look at it and they're like, well, we'll stay on this side of the trail, but yeah, Dad, if we fell off of there, we're at hospital for sure. So the next level, of course, is we're standing on a street corner in Toronto or New York and there's cars going everywhere, and this is hazardous. I don't know how children live in cities. Like, I'm amazed they even make it through. But I'm like, all right, obviously this is bad, kids, so how are we going to deal with this? And like, we're going to stay back. And I'm like, what would happen if you ran out there? Death, Dad. I know that if I lose sight of them, I know they've got the skills to navigate that environment. And that's what I'm trying to impart and live by myself, that hazard recognition, understanding that life is dangerous, and being aware of it and tuned into it. And I hope that as my kids get older, they're also looking at it the same way. You know, maybe my daughter is 15 and I know what I was doing at 15. And there's a bunch of drinking and there's a car going somewhere. And I hope she looks at that, adds up the danger, and goes, death, and gets it. It's not negative. It's about making good decisions in life and thinking things through. This has saved me over and over again. The next one I use a lot is anticipating and expecting change. This is abnormal. You're all sitting there nicely, but things change all the time. When I'm out in the mountains guiding, my client may be like, we're getting to the summit. And I'm like, this isn't a bad Everest movie, we're also going to get down. You know, we're going to make it down today. And then maybe the weather starts getting better. And I've won a lot of competitions and stood on a lot of summits by myself because I also recognized that things were improving. So change is both negative and positive. It depends how you look at it and the fact that you embrace it and pull it toward you, what you do with that. Now, the next thing that I'm into thinking about and sharing as I do all these high-risk things, I learned from a Clint Eastwood. There's this scene in a movie that's really struck with me. And he looks out and he goes, "A man's gotta know his own limitations."
Man's got to know his limitations.
And what he meant by that is you gotta know when you're operating in an area where you're competent and in an area where you're not. I always think, do I actually know what I'm doing? It's a really relevant question, and if not, I bring people in who do. A few years ago, I had this great idea that I was gonna go climb icebergs. And this sounded rad, you know, here in the Rockies, icebergs. I'm really good at climbing ice. I actually know something about that. I've been doing it my whole life. Right on. And I showed up there, icebergs, I know what to do with these, but there's an ocean. I knew nothing about that. I had this idea that if the iceberg started rolling, the boat would come in and I'd like nimbly leap onto the bow. And it isn't like that. When those things roll, big chunks come flying off and the boat heads the other direction, you are on your own. And so I was like, all right, that's not gonna work. And I just recognized I was way outside my league and got some great pictures. The return on investment was great for sponsors and stuff, but I ran away. And that decision is what allowed me to climb Niagara Falls 20-some years later. But you gotta recognize when things just aren't working out and get out or get more competent somehow. But if you use these tools and dig into it, it's like, right, what's gonna go wrong and what's my plan if it does? Is it still worth it? Yes, no. What's happening? Are things changing? Better, worse? Do I know how to deal with that? Yes, no. You chip away at it. Am I any good at it? That's what I'm looking for in my own life. Not ignoring danger, not pretending it doesn't exist, but looking into it, leaning into it, coming up with plans, and executing really cool stuff without getting killed. Because this is a pretty rad life, you know? We're lucky to be alive. We're in a safe place, you know, relatively speaking. We have endless opportunity, and it is awesome. And I might be crazy, but I'm not crazy enough to approach all this stuff in life without some kind of plan. Go out and do something really cool.